In this episode, I'm here with repeated guest and fan favorite Grant Cardone, and we talk about the importance of making the deal during this pandemic.
You don't fight people over money right now. You take every deal you can get.
We also talk about the mindset that business owners have to have right now and how as a leader, we're actually stronger than we may think.
Leadership is really, really important right now.
On top of that, Grant shares the best response to prospects who are unfortunately unemployed and why those prospects will love you for doing this long after COVID-19 ends.
We're going to get on the other side of this, and when you do, people are going to remember who helped you.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Garcia. Welcome back to another episode of the GSD Show. I've got Grant Cardone here again. What's up, Grant?
Good, buddy. Good stuff done. Get stuff done.
Get shit done. Yes, we got. Look, I got this supplement now that somebody gave me, so now I might be starting the line here. We'll see.
Oh, good for you, man.
Yep. So you've been on the show now a few times, which is really cool. And every time you come, you're one of the more popular guests that we've got. We've even got some of our top elite members here listening in live separately because they've been dying to hear what you got to say. And but I want to know, before we kind of get into some questions that I've got, how are you personally adjusting to everything that's going on? Obviously, you're in quarantine too. How are you and the family and everybody adjusting to it all?
You know, this is obviously this is uncharted. Uncharted waters for everybody, right? 2008 really prepared me for this. I've told Jared, who's sitting right next to me right here. I don't know how many times I've told Jared, we got to get ready, Jared. Mm-hmm. Like not this week or 4 weeks ago, but I'm talking about for the last 4 or 5 years. Mm-hmm. And I've gone on many times on many podcasts like this and said, look, we're going to have the highest unemployment in my lifetime that we've ever had at some point. I've made some really strong, taken some strong positions on money and cash and housing, buying houses in the stock market. And, I never knew something that would happen this fast or for this reason and then not know how to get out. But there are some similarities with 2008,
Yeah.
That it reminds me, this is always scary for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not scary for me. It's scary for me because I don't know how long it goes. Mm-hmm. And that's why this time, different than 08, 12 years ago, I took some actions faster than I did last time so that I can actually hopefully rebound. Everybody took a hit here.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no way. You're not on this planet and didn't take a hit unless you own Zoom radio, Zoom video, or everybody's taking a hit.
Even Zoom took a little bit of a hit because they're getting into some legal stuff now as far as like what is protected, what's privacy. So now they're having to hire a lot of legal professionals in order to help them out. That was actually just talked about yesterday. Some news station I was watching, and Zoom is actually now having to come out of pocket quite a bit to keep things protected.
That's interesting because even success at this moment, like if somebody's successful right now, it's probably going to come with some liabilities because with so many people failing, 25 million people unemployed and going up, companies, starting to look at bankruptcy as a solution. Yeah. I think Neiman Marcus filed. 24-Hour Fitness is looking at doing it in your space. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a lot more to come. The government money at some point probably either runs out or doesn't get to the marketplace fast enough. Probably going to be another major correction in the stock market before this thing actually stabilizes. Mm-hmm. Like there's a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of fear. I feel that. I feel it from my customers. We have 1,800 customers that they're all hurting. I got car dealers, people in the airline business or that sell the airline business, people that sell the hotels, furniture business, a lot of fitness. We have a lot of clients in the fitness space, a lot of people feeling a lot of pain. And, you can see it on social media too. You can see the kind of craziness to I remember the day Bill Ackman, about 2 weeks ago, Bill Ackman was on CNBC talking about the market and then made $2 billion the next week. And how many people hated, like that guy completely went quiet. Yeah. Because the amount of hate he got was just unbelievable. Tillman Fertitta, who's had to let go 45,000 people.
Yeah.
Got $300 million worth of debt at 12% right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. And you know,
fund activities. But let me just say this one other thing, then we'll get into it. Nobody should be pulling against anyone right now. Like, you want to pull for people right now. This is no matter where you are in the food chain.
Yeah, yeah.
The waters are polluted right now, and that affects, negatively impacts everyone.
Yeah, you know, like you said earlier too, the biggest fear is, you know, the fear isn't so much of what we're going through. We know we can go through stuff. It's just how long am I going to go through it? It's like being locked in a car that's 100 degrees with the windows up. If you don't tell me when you're coming back, I start getting anxiety in the first 30 seconds. I'm getting anxiety. But if you told me 10 minutes, 10 minutes I can do no problem. No, I could have done 20 minutes fine. But in 30 seconds, if I don't know when it's over, I'm freaking out from second one. And that's kind of what's happening now. People are freaking out early. Well, rightfully so. Now we're 4 or 5 weeks in. A lot of people are freaking out. People freaked out day one. People are buying toilet paper. People doing all this stuff. And it's like, you know, toilet paper is not going to really be the answer. We should probably, there's a lot of things we should focus on. But, you know, just the panic and what people do in panic. Some people adjust pretty well and some people don't know what to do. So they just do what everyone's doing. You know?
Yeah. The masses, that herd mentality of people just kind of rushing to that one exit, you know, and then you hear about in the movie theater where people don't, the stampede kills more people than the fire, right?
Yeah. So now that was one thing you talk about Tillman Fertitta. I know that I'm friends with Billy, so I got a chance to talk with Billy about, I know you guys did an interview, and you know, he brought up how you had to let go of a lot of employees, and I didn't hear this about you, but I did hear that you got from him, I heard you got a lot of heat for it. But he told me the reasoning, and I get it, but I'd like to hear, because there's people that are listening in, and they're kind of going back and forth. You let go of a lot of people, man. And
well, we let go of 42 people. I have almost 500 employees between the real estate and the company and the business here. There's people out there saying, Grant Cardone let go of 80 people. We didn't let go of 80 people. I let go of 42 people. Those 42 people, except for a few exceptions, were all hired in January and February. Mm-hmm. It had nothing to do with their positions. It had something to do with, or what we were paying them. It had something to do with when we had hired them.
Okay.
We knew we were going to go remote, and we didn't feel like we could train, educate, and onboard those people properly and correctly to make a part of our culture at a time where we weren't going to be in the office with them. Mm-hmm. Right? So they're saying, like, I have 100 and what do we got on payroll right now? 106, 107. When I open my office up, there's 25,000 square feet here. You've been in my office before, right?
Yep.
So they're saying I'm, probably only going to be allowed to bring 40 back at a time. Mm-hmm. And then maybe 60, right? So, like, my culture works best when we can be together. And that's what we're used to. That's the business that I built. I can't imagine what some of these companies are going through right now. Car dealer friends that they can't even go into their company. Mm-hmm. So the restaurants, there's no restaurant, there's no waiter, there's nobody at the front door, there's no cook. What do you do?
Right.
So we did this, 4 weeks ago now, Jared? 3.5 weeks ago? I let those 42 people go. This was before Disney let go of 100,000 people. Tillman let go of 45,000 people. Delta Airlines furloughed who knows how many pilots, mm-hmm. because 90% of their planes aren't flying.
Right.
So these are just things you have to do in business as a business owner. You know that, and we didn't want to. I'm watching all these. I'm hearing about all these podcasts. Grant Cardone got rid of 80 people. Well, how did I let them go? Mm-hmm. Are they available to come back? Will I hire them back? What were we paying? What were they doing for me? And how long have they been working here?
Yeah, those are all good questions you should ask before you place some judgment.
Yeah, and you're doing the right thing. Rather than passing on bad information, you're asking the guy that actually did it. So it's an exaggeration of how many people, number one. Number two, nobody talks about how many people I have on payroll. Our payroll last month was $1.4 million.
Yeah.
So if you're not spending $1.4 million in payroll, you shouldn't. Don't talk about who got that guy.
Right. And that's actually, I just had I did a Facebook Live in our members only group yesterday, and one of the things I talked about is not judging people until you know the full story. And even if you know the full story, it's up to them on what they do and how they do it, because they got to deal with the consequences or whatever happens along with it. You just got to focus on you. Because right now, here's a heat that my studio owners, we work with gyms across the entire world, fitness studios and gyms throughout the world, and the whole world's affected by this. So the heat that they're getting is they're in one of two groups. Either the group that is pro opening up as soon as the state says you can open up your doors and run classes again and let people work out. And then there's the other group that's like, how could you even think about opening up on day one when, we can just spike this whole thing up again? And the thing is, it's really tough because both seem to be quick to judge the other person, but both people think the other person is just as wrong as the other thinks about them. And it's really, really tricky. So you're dealing with that, but the message I had to tell with these guys is, look, nobody has the right answer right now. I can't imagine anybody's got the right answer on exactly what to do.
I mean, I had the right answer for me, right? So
yeah, for you,
I did the right thing.
For you.
I don't need somebody that's 7 states away that employs no one, that doesn't even have an office. You don't even have a lease, and you're condemning me for that I have 480 employees right now rather than 520.
Right.
So also at the same time, I had to work with 7,700 families that rent from me to help them. Mm-hmm. Like, you seen that video floating around?
Yeah.
Cardone's helping people.
Yep.
We're providing housing for people that can't get, like, they need a place to go. They got stuck in Miami, or they got stuck in the Panhandle, or they got stuck in Houston. They were on their way back to New York, and then New York got shut down. And they're like, I can't go back there right now. It's quarantine. Yeah. So we got people in Houston, the Panhandle, here in Miami, where we provided housing. But look, no employer out there, Delta, Tillman, Disney, Grant Cardone, nobody hires somebody because they want to let them go.
Right.
It's insane. Like, we have to look at 10 people to hire one person.
Right.
That means I invested my time, energy, and money to look at 400 resumes, probably interviewed 150 people to hire on 40.
And then the training that you have to invest before you get any real productivity out of them too.
Some of these people were hired a week before this thing happened, man. I'm like,
right.
Hey, sorry, here's a month's worth of pay. We can't even bring you on right now because you're going to be at your house, and I'm stuck in another. I was stuck in another state when this whole thing happened.
Well, that brings me to another thing. So you actually inspired me to not be as remote. I remember at the time, because when I went to go, I've been in your office a few times, and the energy in the sales room is just so different, and it makes you want to sell, and it makes you want to call, and it makes you see the boards, the scoreboards. You almost feel like you're in a game, which is kind of cool. And so I was like, okay, maybe we should really start looking at avoiding remote as much as possible. And I know you avoided it because you like the energy and all that stuff too. How have you adjusted to this? Have you found pros to it that you didn't see prior, or are you just dying to get back in?
I'm sure there's some pros to it. There's no way the pros outweigh Jared. I mean, maybe I'd love your opinion, but there's no way in my mind that the pros outweigh us being together every day.
Yeah.
Okay. If I'm going into battle, I want my team with me. I don't want them on a video call.
Right.
So I just don't have the technology. I'm not the military. I don't have drones to do my work for me. I want people together. Now what we've done is increase the number. I think Jared would probably have a little different opinion just because he loves the idea of remote and the 1099. I had a company for 25 years that I tried to do with 1099s. It was a disaster. When 2008 happened, almost every one of my guys were 1099. They just scattered. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't hold things together. Most of our staff is right here in Miami. They're connected. So we've increased the amount of communication, but a lot of these Zoom videos that people are depending on now, I could be on the phone with a customer.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I don't even like long meetings in my company. Like, people that come here say, "Oh wow, you have that meeting every day?" Yeah, but they're short.
Yeah.
they're positive and they're effective. We don't spend a lot of time in conference calls. Right now we're having to do a lot of that. Just waiting for people to all get into this and say hi in the morning, Anyway, bottom line is I would much rather have people with us.
Yeah. And, one of the things I did learn from you, I remember I interviewed you once. You said we do a meeting every day at 9:06. I was like, 9:06, and then you talk about how short it was. So now we actually been doing a daily huddle since then. It's been over a year and a half, McKenna, about a little bit like that. I mean, the day I got back, we created a whole system for it, and our meeting lasts from 10:55 to 11:02 every day. It's a daily huddle. Entire company's in it. Go through quick wins, important metrics people need to know. One big win that something's happening, a big member win, something like that, and then.
Yeah, is that proven beneficial to you?
Oh yeah, I mean McKenna would. Yeah, I mean everyone's on. It's a fire up meeting. Like there's energy. There's no bad news. I don't want to hear about problems. We're not talking about emails like, hey, an HR issue. Like we're not here to congregate about things that could be done in an email or something privately in your department. It's a company wide. Here's how we're winning right now. You know.
Yeah, good for you, man. Good for you. That's it. Because it takes a lot of energy and a lot of discipline to do that every single day.
Yeah. The team does a good job. They followed it well. You're an opportunist, which is something I've known about you and I like. What are the opportunities here? Like what?
They're massive.
So what are you seeing? What do you see? Especially for I know for you are a real estate guy. I mean, for you, your eyes are probably like lighting up with everything that's happening. What about a small business owner, a guy that owns a gym, a fitness studio, like an Orange Theory guy? What are the opportunities that he sees right now?
Well, I would just tell you that the first opportunity is what happens to the herd. What happens to the herd right now is typically people take so much time to get to acceptance of the situation. This is, again, I'm going back to my 2008 live practical training. Mm-hmm. It took me so long to get to acceptance of the situation. It was probably 2 years before I realized two things. One, okay, I'm going to make it through that. Accepting, I'm going to get through that. And two, on the other side is always something better. Mm-hmm. This time I was like in the first day. I mean, I got a phone call on a Thursday night telling me some of this was about to happen.
Yeah.
And then you started seeing stuff 3 or 4 days later leaked all over the internet. There was actually a program to leak out to the world and get people kind of ready for what was going on. But I was told certain things would happen. It would get laid out in stages. I came to Jared and Sherry and my team, and I'm like, this is going to happen. It was Friday morning. This is going to happen. Let's meet Monday and go over what we're going to do. My acceptance of the situation was almost instant.
Right.
So I'm already moving to the other side about, okay, how do I move from crisis to expansion in this? And the way to do that is to get to acceptance as fast as possible. And that requires a contraction in the beginning. You have to contract first. I gotta reserve my resources, pull everybody back in so that I can go back and attack again. And then you gotta decide, what are your assets? What are your liabilities? Are there any liabilities you have that are now assets? In this environment, things can flip. Mm-hmm. I'll give you an example. Oil, the amount of oil being produced now has actually become a liability.
Right.
In America.
Can't get rid of it.
And so what was an asset 5 weeks ago is now a liability. Mm-hmm. So in every economic spin, when things flip over, you have to actually look at what was your asset last week that is now a liability. Like we looked at all our product in our webinars, our past products we've created, everything that sits at grantcardone.com, our tickets, our ticket pricing, etc. Hey, what do we have that's an asset that is a liability, and we need to turn it back into an asset again? And so there's ways you can do that, but you can't do that if you're hating on people, if you're watching the news and the media, or if you're not in acceptance, going through denial and anger. A lot of anger out there right now, man. You can see how angry people are.
Yeah.
And anger is just one of the stages of acceptance, right? If you can get through the denial, this is happening, it's going to be terrible. I just went to worst case scenario the first day I heard it. 2, hard to get worse than this, but 2 is no blame, no reason for blame. Don't try to figure out whether it's 5G or Wuhan.
Right, it doesn't matter.
3, don't bargain with it. Don't try to make sense of it. And number 4, the grief of it. Like I just went through it as fast as I could, got the acceptance. This is where we're going. And so now I'm looking for opportunity. For the small business owner, you need to look at the weaknesses of your competition right now. How much cash do they have? How much staying power do they have? How big's their team? You should start looking to acquire stuff right now. Like, we're going to go back to business. Y'all got to understand.
Right.
World War I, World War II, Civil War, like Great Depression, 1918, whatever that disease was.
Yeah, Spanish flu.
Vietnam War. That Vietnam War was forever.
Right.
The Gulf War, 2001, internet bust. 1995, Credit and Loan Association bust. It was 1,600 banks went out of business.
Right.
And then we have 2008, which was the worst housing crash in the history of the United States. We've gotten through all of it.
Yeah.
We got through 9/11, and we're going to get through this.
Yeah.
And that's just the history of the United States. That's not the history of the world.
And not only did we get through all of it, but then we went into, most recently, the best economy we've ever seen. So it's not even like it held us down for a while. Like we were just in a great.
New York after 9/11.
Right.
Look at the explosion of real estate in New York. In 2008, when the economy crashed, if you look, you could have bought apartments the week before the housing crash, and today you would have still made 300% on your money.
Wow. Now you talk about the opportunity, your competition, being able. You've always done a really good job of standing out and getting attention. That's like, I think one of the things you say all the time is money follows attention. Like you understand the importance of it. Right now, how do you, like, it's hard to get attention right now. I mean, everything's focused on coronavirus and everything's focused on all the stuff that, whatever, it's a vaccine, a possible vaccine that's happening out, or testing, or records that we're hitting in negative ways. How do you stand out in something like that? What are you focusing on? What are you telling your book?
Jared and I were having this conversation last Thursday, okay? And I was doing an Instagram post, and me and Jared were literally talking about it right before then. I'm doing an Instagram live. It went crazy. This thing goes nuts, right?
Okay.
So I'm like, Jared, the only thing that anybody sees right now is bad news. And some guy on my Instagram post was like, Grant Cardone's going bankrupt. I'm like, yeah, you see, Jared, like, I'd have to tell. It's true, guys. And then I started doing this whole thing about the bankruptcy, right? And I'm losing all my real estate, and none of this is true. And I'm telling this, and all of a sudden this thing just pops. And I say, you see, Jared, I'd have to literally tell people that something terrible was happening to me, and everybody will post it. That, by the way, has been completely confused by a bunch of people. A bunch of people think I did it as a hoax. I didn't really do it as a hoax. The next day I came on and said, what's wrong with you people? Y'all can't hear Jared in the background? 10 cents on the dollar. Like, he's literally laughing. We're both laughing about it while I do it.
Right.
And then I told Billie Jean, I said, Billie, I'm a genius, huh? Billie Jean. I said, I'm a genius, huh? Dude, that thing was a complete fluke.
Yeah. Well, you didn't even start it. You just kind of went with it a little bit. Somebody else started the whole thing you just said, right?
Yeah, totally. A guy named One Pocket or something. And I said, One Pocket, you call yourself one, because he was giving me some hate or something. I said, you call yourself One Pocket because you got nothing in the other pocket. and I said, yeah. I said, Jared, and I started this rumor about the bankruptcy thing and et cetera. So, yeah, look, Kevin Hart said, people share bad information more than they will good.
Yeah.
Every day we go to work, we see 25,000 people drive to work in Houston, Texas, one way in one period of time. Nobody hits anybody, but everybody talks about that one fender bender.
Yep.
Nobody ever says, hey, 25,000 people got to work today without blah, blah, or 25 million or whatever the number, right? So, yeah, you have to get attention right now, but you got to remember, money follows attention. It is true that money follows attention, but you have to get the eyeballs first. You got to get the eyeballs hooked in first, which is one of the most difficult things to do in a business, is to get people thinking about you or your brand.
Yeah. Marketing and advertising right now, obviously it's a lot cheaper. A lot more people are using the internet, which obviously on a bidding system, it makes it a lot less expensive. A lot of people aren't advertising right now. Everyone that kind of like contracted and they're freaking out, or they're not in business anymore. So right now we're seeing, we're spending 5 or 6 times more money on advertising right now, our company, because it's so cheap, and we're building up big lists and all the stuff that we need, and we're making sales. What are you doing? Are you noticing growth in certain departments or in certain areas right now?
Yeah, the first thing that we did was we reassessed, and I mentioned this earlier, is we had to take a look at all of our product offers, the names, the pricing.
Right.
I don't know if I'm doing it right, by the way. I just know we're doing the best we can. Our phone sales actually are the amount of, have we cut our advertising, Jared, somewhat?
No.
Okay.
No cut. So you haven't cut it yet.
We haven't cut that because, look, if nobody knows me, I can't bring the other 40 people back.
Right. There you go.
Like, people are like, Grant Cardone let go of 40 people, but he didn't cut his advertising. Yeah, that's right. I'm trying to get to the other side of this, just like everybody else is, so that I can hire those people back.
Right.
And so if nobody knows you, it ain't gonna matter.
Yeah.
You got to open up again.
Yeah.
And so this is the difficulty right now. Look, you and I are in a better position than say the restaurant. What's he going to advertise?
Yeah. Yeah. Or like a nail salon, hair
salon.
salon.
Right now, people that are going to play. What's United Airlines going to advertise right now? What's the Marriott going to advertise? All those people can't buy ads right now. I was watching I think it was Lincoln running an ad. I'm like, really? Like, I can't even go to the store, right? Like, how am I going to go to the dealership right now?
Right. Yeah.
So unless you're a massive company like an AutoNation, it's going to be hard to make sense of that. But like you say, if they don't know you, if they're not thinking about you, you have no chance in the game. That's why I think a lot of these business owners right now are going to figure out, hey, how do I now embrace e-commerce? It's going to be a big pivot to saying, okay, I'm definitely going to figure out this e-commerce game. I definitely need to figure out the digital game. The tattoo artist, a little harder, man. How does he do his job?
Yeah.
6 feet away electronically, kind of difficult. It's hard to get a massage
on Zoom.
Via Zoom.
Yeah. And that was another thing too. With you and your team, you've done such a good job of building a sales team, which obviously makes sense. You're teaching companies how to build sales teams, and you're helping them make better sales teams. So you have your people dialed in on scripts. And they don't really, unless maybe they're Bonnet, they really don't get away from the script as much as they can. Even Bonnet stays to it somewhat. What have you and your sales team have had to do with your scripts? Have you had to hey, let's hold these, but let's create some new scripts. We've got whole new pain points that people are dealing with. We've got new things that they want or need or care about right now. Have you had to redo all your sales scripts and go through new levels of training with them?
The first thing that we reviewed, I had a meeting with all those guys. And I was like, look, there's 2 reasons you'll be let go right now. You're not guaranteed a job, number 1. Okay? So 2 reasons you could be let go right now. And you got to people should be reminded, hey, everybody should go to work every day grateful for their work. If you got a job, be grateful for your job. If you're losing your job, just don't leave. That would be my recommendation.
Right.
Okay? Take the pay cut and don't walk. Because then you end up with 2 things you lost, a job and the money.
Right.
And if you stay on the field, man, you could actually perform. Like, there's no way I would walk away from my job today. And I told my staff, I said, if you lose a deal over money, I will fire you on the spot. One time, you will not even be given a second shot. Okay, number 2, your outbounds have to exceed whatever you were doing 30 days before. You better double that number, or you could be at risk. Either I'm going to let you go, or the marketplace is going to let you go.
You said money. You said if you lose a deal over money. Talk to me about that. What do you mean by that? If you lose a deal over money?
Lose a deal over $1. I'm like, somebody needs something, you handle it.
Okay.
You don't fight people over money right now. You take every deal you can get. Every offer you can get, you take it.
So if someone says, hey, I like this, program that you've got. It looks like it costs, $5,000 down and $600 a month for 2 years or whatever it is. You're saying, okay, well, how can we negotiate and how can we make it a 4-year deal and bring it down to $400 a month in order to fit their budget?
Well, the first thing we did was we waived the $5,000 down. I'm not asking anybody to give me $5,000. It's a new environment.
Right.
So that means I'm going to miss the guy that does have $5,000, but I'm not looking for that guy. I'm looking for volume and quantity. I'm trying to go this way right now, right? And when the economies contract, what you're trying to do is expand into it. You don't want to go deep on it. You want to go wide on it. And so that you can spread. You want the fire to spread at some point.
Right.
And you want your business to scale. Scale's always this way. Scale's never deep. It's about how do I go wide on an audience. And money could prevent you, particularly right now when people are terrified. So I'm like, guys, we have a $4,000 startup fee. It's over. waiving it for the next 90 days, regardless of what happens, even if they have the $4,000. Number two, if they make you an offer, you take that deal. You do not do what we were doing 30 days ago, which was, no, the money's there, the value's there, da-da-da. I'm not going to try to overcome a dollar objection right now. It's just not worth. I'd rather the deal right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, unless it's completely ridiculous, like it'd have to be off the charts ridiculous, I'm taking the deal.
You know what? That's actually perfect for the audience we've got too, because right now what we've done is we've taken all the studios we work with. These guys, thousands of them, they're now doing everything remote. My wife is literally in the living room every day going through training, and she's paying $99 a month, you know, as opposed to $159, which she'd pay there. But I mean, at the end of the day, if I'm talking to, let's say I'm working a gym or a fitness studio, you're the prospect, and I talk to you and I say, hey, it's $99 a month. If you're like, oh man, I don't have that. Well, I can go because it's Zoom. It doesn't really cost me any more money to have another person on Zoom. It doesn't. So I can always say, hey, look, I want you to work out here. I can tell you did a good workout. I want you to have this. What can you do? Let's see how we can meet there. What can you do? Can you do 79?
Yeah.
And then find a way, if it ends up being $19 or $29, it doesn't cost you much more. Do you say just get the deal, get the person on board, and then maybe once we open, we can convert them to a regular paying member?
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're unemployed right now, you can get Cardone you for free. 20 million people. I'm like, you take it. Just take it for free. I'll get you later.
So give people the pre-recorded. That might be good too for everyone listening. Give them the pre-recorded. It's all the stuff in the portal for free, and then they pay for the lives. But because
you want to go this way right now. Money's not the issue right now, because for you another 59 or 79 or 99 is probably less important than you having another 100 people.
Right.
So just like you would pay for advertising, you got to think about deal acquisition like advertising.
Right.
And so, look, I want to help 25 million people that are out of work right now. I've been out of work. I know what it feels like. I know how depressing it is. I know how scary it is. I know how, like, it strips off a sense of, like, purpose. And so, number one reason is to help people, in my case. And two, I'd love to be responsible for paying it forward to households. But when these people, we're going to get on the other side of this, and when you do, people are going to remember who helped you. A bank helped me with some of the paperwork for this PPP stuff, right? These guys did so much for me. I will never, ever take my money out of that bank.
Yeah.
Regardless of what they pay me or don't pay me.
Yeah.
I'm obligated to them now. They did something exceptional for me. So right now you want deal acquisition, customer acquisition. And then the other thing is $99 can be no one's problem right now. So I was on a call with a client the other day, and they're like, man, it's $2,000. I'm like, $2,000 isn't your problem, bro.
Right.
Going bankrupt's your problem.
Right. That's so true.
Opening up your facility's your problem. Bringing anybody back on, you got a $20 million problem here, not a $2,000 problem. He's like, okay, yes, let's set it up, start it up. I don't know what I was thinking. Because $2,000, $1,700, $59, $39, none of that's going to matter. And that's why people went out and bought toilet paper.
Right. Yeah,
They weren't worried about money in that moment.
Yeah, no, they were thinking about their ass. And what you said is right. My bookkeeper and my banker, they were emailing me, texting me 11:30 at night, like, hey, we want to get you this thing. We need you to fill this out. There's been a new adjustment to the application. We need you to, get this signed. And we were doing stuff, texting at like 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. And we got our money, right? Which is, 95% of our clients got their money. And it's a lot of money. You're talking, for us, it was close to $1 million or something like that, right? Because we got a lot of people. We got a ton of people compared to where we were. And so what an amazing thing to be able to have that, because I look around and a lot of people didn't get their money. A lot of bankers laid down. A lot of bankers, like, they still clocked out at 5 somehow, like, because it was done. And mine's up at 11:30 at night texting me. So there's no way I'm leaving this person. I don't care who comes to me with their resume and what they've done and who they help and how they're cheaper. I'm like, you're cheaper now, but what happens when something big happens? She was cheaper for me.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is your chance now to be like that for your members, your customers, all
so
that.
Everybody's got to figure out, how can you do that right now? How can you help people right now? How can you, you have to balance between, I got to figure out how to help a bunch of people and not get anything for it, but I also figure out how to get enough funding to keep my expansion going. And so it's a tough time, man. We're all in uncharted waters. Don't know how long it's going to last. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. I know it's terrifying for everybody. And the more fear there is outside of you, the harder it gets for everybody to move. So leadership is really, really important right now.
You know,
people need to be willing to tell people online that they're winning and that they're succeeding, and support one another, because your success, you telling me all this, I'm getting off this thing. Hey, let's go do some more. Let's go expand into this thing, because some people are going to fold under this crisis.
Right.
And then some people maybe are going to create new businesses. This is going to be that pivotal moment, like 2008 was for me. This is going to be a moment where we're going to probably make a rebirth of millionaires and billionaires, maybe entire industries in this country like we've never seen before.
Yeah, I was telling, Bedros, because I seen you guys together. I was talking to Bedros the other day, and one of the things that I kind of talked to him about was, you're going to see two things happen. You're going to see a lot of people run out of business. They're going to be out. They were struggling in a booming economy, right, for years. And so this is going to be something it's too much. But then you're going to have a lot of people that are going to come out of this thing as rock stars, because they were meant to be good. They just needed some pressure. They needed they needed their back against the wall in order to, because for me, that's kind of how it was for me. 2007, 2008, people would have called me lazy. Not in competition, like in basketball or anything like that. Like, people would have been like, okay, this guy goes too hard. But in business, I would have been called lazy. And then, we started this company because we had to. My wife got fired, during the economy. She was pregnant, and we had a baby on the way. We had 500 in savings. And then next thing you know, like, my wife and I were working, because we had to, because we didn't want to be homeless with a baby. We're working 18 hours a day. We're waking up at 4 or 5 o'clock, and we're going to bed at 2 just to do it all over again, 7 days a week. And that built such a great habit for me that, I learned that, holy shit, I can actually do some of this stuff. And so I think there's going to be some people that, it's going to put them out, but some people that never would have been rock stars if, in a booming economy.
I 100% agree with you, Mike. 100%. Pressure makes diamonds.
Yep.
And we're all lumps of coal, and we can be lumps of coal. Sometimes it takes a long time and a lot of pressure. Like in my case, I'm 60 years old, 62 years old. It's taken me a long time a lot of losses, a lot of failures, a lot of punches in the face, a lot of, oh man, I'm doing great now, getting comfortable, and then getting, cold cocked again. And then finally one day I'm like, 2008 was like, okay, you got to up your game, buddy. You can never let this happen to you again. It was the right amount of pressure and uncertainty and fear, and everything came at the right time. I had a baby also coming. Mm-hmm. I was just 3 or 4 years married. We were probably, the honeymoon stage was coming off, and that thing cracked me, and then another thing cracked me, and then a third thing, and I'm like, oh my God, dude, I wasn't ready for any of this.
No.
And a week before, I thought I was the shit.
Yeah. And with the story that you told me when we first met, you, like, everyone, a lot of people know you now. You're everywhere. But when we first met, you said, Mike, I didn't even touch social media till I was in my 50s. How old were you when you first decided, okay, I'm going to make a post on social and actually see if I can make this thing work for me?
Yeah, I was 51 years old. I was in Los Angeles, California. I was in my room that had green Venetian. I was officing out of my home. Okay. My wall in front of me. I can see it right now. Green Venetian plaster, and had 2 Great Danes, two chocolate labs, and a parrot that lived at my house. Sabrina was, I think Sabrina was a brand new baby. No, she was coming. She was on her way. And then I had 2 or 3 people, a guy named Nick, Jen, and what was that other? Sasan, that were back in my guest house. Somebody said, Facebook. Mm-hmm. I said, Facebook? I ain't got time for Facebook. God damn, I got a bank that wants $50 million from me today. Yeah. I got a lawsuit that was costing me $200,000 a month. Mm-hmm. And he walked out of the room. I said, you sound like I was 51, dude. I said, I thought to myself, you sound like I ain't got time for Facebook. I don't even know what Facebook is. And I'm already just, I don't have time for that. So that was always that.
You're right, I sound like an old man.
I sound like an old man, right?
Right.
It's somebody told me once, ignorance is, you make a decision prior to investigation, contempt prior to investigation. And that's what I did with social media. I'm like, this is stupid. I didn't know anything about it. And like the big mouth person that I am, I always have an opinion regardless of what I know. And then later I said, literally later, it was like 15 minutes later, I was like, I got to check into this Facebook thing.
Yeah. So what happened in that 15 minutes that made you go, all right, or maybe it was in that 15 minutes.
I sounded ignorant.
So you realized you sounded like the guy that you probably can't stand when they talk.
I sounded like an old man.
Yeah.
That was saying no to, I remember the first time I heard Eminem, I couldn't like that. This is terrible. Then I fall in love with him.
Yeah. Now you work out to him.
Huh?
Now you work out to him. He's the best workout music to me. I work out to Eminem.
Yeah. So then it was like, okay, I got to play this Facebook thing. But really what I did was I went back and leaned on, I had just created a YouTube account like 3 months before, but I was ignoring it. Mm-hmm. And that's when I went and leaned on YouTube. But every one of these, I've gone through the same thing. Instagram. It took me 3 years to figure out my Instagram account.
Yeah.
I don't turn any of these accounts up. None of these accounts have worked until I leaned into it.
Yeah.
TikTok doesn't work for me because nobody in my company uses it for me. I have not figured it out. I stay away from it. I don't get it. I haven't leaned into it, and so it doesn't work for me because I haven't leaned into it. Now I'm not content prior to investigation on it. I know there's something there. I kind of got my hands full right now with 8,000 apartments and bringing back 40 employees and figuring out government stuff and blah blah blah. Right?
Yeah. So before we head out, what's the final message? The message that you're like, man, I wish the whole world, everyone that's, especially the people that've got the potential to be successful, and they're maybe just one bad decision away from not knowing that could have been. What do you say to that person you're sitting with them right now?
We're going to survive this, okay? You're going to get through this. You're going to want to die, and you ain't going to be able to. Okay? There's no way of getting out of this deal. This is what I would tell everybody. My wish for everybody was like, understand right now, you are going to get through this. It is going to feel like you're going to want to die, and you're not. And you're going to get through it. The question now is up to you. Will you be better? Will you be bigger? And will you be unstoppable on the other side? Or will you be smaller? It's up to you. It could be anything you want it to be. But you're going to get through the other side. You will get through the other side. We will all get through to the other side. The question is, what are you going to look like? I've made a decision that this is going to be, for me, the biggest single event in my lifetime in a positive way. Mm-hmm. It's not going to, I'm not going to like what I'm eating while I'm eating it, but later it's going to be like, dude, I'm so glad that happened. You have to make that decision first. And I just want to tell everybody watching right now, if you're seeing this, like anything I can do to help you, whether it's I'm making mistakes out there, screwing up. Look, I'm just trying to figure out how to get to the other side bigger, faster, better, and more unstoppable so I can take care of my family, my customers, my business, and hopefully create a legacy that inspires people. And if I can help any of the people, Mike, that are following you, because of the mistakes I'm probably going to make as I do this, or because maybe I stumble onto the right thing to do, I'll be transparent the whole time and show everybody what I'm doing while I'm doing it.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, I'm looking forward to doing more with you. We, just so you know, at the last 10X, I had such a good time. I already got tickets for the next one. So I don't know how long this thing lasts, but you better figure out a way to keep it going somehow.
How good was that event?
I was blown away because I went to the other one. I don't think I went to the one. I didn't go to the one in the baseball field. I went to the one before that in Vegas. Okay. That was the one. Remember, you invited me to come down to the Mandalay Bay, and I couldn't make it. I wasn't feeling good. I was feeling sick, and then that whole craziness happened. You and Cole and everybody were like locked in. So I went to that one with my wife, and we had a good time. But there definitely were some speakers. I won't say who they were, and I was just like, could have done without that guy, but that guy was really great. But okay, this time we went more because, I support you, and I'm friends with Joe and Kristen now. We're part of the program. I know those guys. It would be great to see them in person. And then I had some clients I wanted to meet up. So I went there thinking it was going to be like the one I went to 2 years ago. But dude, it was like my wife and I, we did our best not to miss any one, which was hard because we had meetings we set during this thing. So, but no, the speakers were unreal. The ability to over deliver, like that was your focus, I could tell, because your lineup of unannounced speakers was better or as good, if not better, than your announced speakers, which is like you didn't use any of those people to promote the event, which is not like Usher, John.
Some of them were a little offended by it.
Really?
Like, hey man, where am I at in your promo, man? I said, you're not on my promo.
Dude, like you had Mayweather, and he, didn't even. And then, well, Dana White, I heard. I can't remember if it was you that told me on the IG Live or something like that he was not supposed to be in. He randomly messaged you or something like that, right?
Yeah, he saw the lineup. He's like, hey, can I come by that thing,
Yeah. No, that was amazing. So I told Joe afterwards, I was like, hey, I'm just going to get the ticket now because I want to come to this thing. And it was good for me and my wife too. We got 4 kids and then we got a bunch of employees, and it's good to get away, and doing it in Vegas is great because my wife and I can kind of take a couple days, go relax, go have fun, be by the pool, that stuff.
The next one's going to be bigger than the last one, brother.
In Vegas?
Yeah, it's going to be bigger.
Yeah, well, we're there. We already got the ticket. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
I'll see you front row. Hey, appreciate you, man. Be great. Tell everybody hello.
You got it, man. Same you. Take care. Bye. Thanks for watching. If you like this episode, make sure you subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, or YouTube. And to watch more episodes and get exclusive links from each episode, go to gsdshow.com.